All right, let's talk about business jargon. You know that special language that can make you feel like you're the only one not in on the secret? Well, today, we're cracking the code. We're going to translate the buzzwords and figure out what people are really saying. Let's dive in.
I mean, picture it. You're sitting in a really important meeting, and words like synergy and paradigm shift are just flying around the room. And you're nodding, right? You're nodding along, trying to look like you totally get it. But inside, it's like you're trying to solve a puzzle with half the pieces missing. Yeah, we've all been there.
So, what does all this stuff really mean? Is it just some secret handshake for a club you're not in? Well, that's what we're here to figure out. We are going to pull back the curtain and give you the decoder ring so you're never left guessing again.
Okay, so first things first, let's talk about why this language even exists. Because, it's not just a bunch of random fancy words someone made up. It's actually used pretty strategically for very specific reasons.
Yeah, it's really a double-edged sword, isn't it? On one hand, for people who are in the know, it can be a kind of shorthand, it speeds things up. But for literally anyone else, a client, a new team member, it's just confusing. It basically builds a wall and keeps people out.
So yeah, it's not just about being efficient. Jargon is a tool. It can make someone in, say, business advisory services sound like they have some kind of secret, specialized knowledge. It builds authority. And honestly, it's a fantastic way to hide the fact that you might not actually know the answer. It lets you project confidence even when things are super unclear.
Okay, you ready? This is the main event. Consider this next part your personal insider's guide. We're about to decode some of the most common, most used terms in the business world.
Let's start with a classic, the 80-20 rule. On the surface, it sounds brilliant, right? Focus on the 20% of your effort that gets you 80% of your results. Super efficient. But what it can really mean is just doing the absolute minimum to look like you're busy, while totally skipping the hard stuff. Oh, synergy. This one is a Hall of Famer. The big promise is that when we combine things, the result will be magically greater than the sum of its parts. 1 + 1 = 3. The reality, though? It's usually just a fuzzy-sounding excuse for a huge merger or a project where nobody can actually point to what the real benefits will be.
All right, how about low-hanging fruit? Sounds great, doesn't it? Let's just grab the easy wins, get some quick points on the board. But here's the thing, it could be a total trap. When you're only focused on what's easy, you're probably ignoring the really tough, high-value work that actually matters. And that's exactly the problem, right? You spend all your time picking the apples you can reach from the ground. And yeah, you get a full basket. But you're completely missing out on the best ones way up at the top of the tree, all because it would take a little more work to get to them. And then there's the opposite. Let's not boil the ocean. It's always said like a piece of wise advice, a warning not to try and do something impossibly big. But let's be real, a lot of the time, it's just an excuse to shrink the scope of a project and dodge being held accountable for the final result.
And that's exactly how it can feel. You get told not to boil the ocean, but what happens is you just end up adrift in a tiny little boat, surrounded by a massive sea of problems that nobody actually solved.
Okay, here's one I know you've heard. Let's circle back on that. It sounds so professional, so responsible. But be honest, how many times have you circled back to something that was never, ever brought up again? It's the ultimate polite way to kill a difficult topic and hope everyone forgets about it.
Next up, the deep dive. I mean, who doesn't love a deep dive? It sounds so thorough, so meticulous. But you gotta be careful. Sometimes a deep dive is really just a long delay. It's a fantastic way to look super busy and analytical while avoiding making a hard decision.
It's exactly that. You just keep searching and searching in this huge, complex sea of information, and the actual goal, doing something, just sinks farther and farther out of sight.
Okay, so now you know the code. You can spot the jargon from a mile away. But what do you actually do about it? Well, that's what we're talking about next. We're going to give you the playbook for cutting through all that noise.
It's actually pretty simple. 3 steps. First, demand plain English. Seriously, just ask, hey, can you say that again, but simpler? Second, request examples. If someone talks about adding value, ask them, okay, what's a real-world example of that? And third, and this is crucial, challenge vagueness. Don't just nod along. Politely push back until you get a real answer.
Want some actual phrases you can use in your very next meeting? I got you. Number 1, paraphrase what they said back to them. So, if I'm understanding you correctly, what you're saying is,
It forces them to be clear. Number 2, ask them to define success. What does a win actually look like here? And number 3, demand metrics. How are we going to measure this?
And look, this isn't just about being picky with words or getting annoyed in meetings. This stuff really, really matters. Choosing clear language over jargon can literally be the difference between success and failure on a project.
Think about it. When nobody's clear on what's going on, the costs are huge. You get teams working on the wrong things, you waste time, you waste money, and maybe worst of all, you break trust. Because when people hide behind fancy words, it feels like they're hiding something else too.
I mean, just look at this. On one side, you've got this sentence salad of buzzwords that means absolutely nothing. We'll leverage our best-in-class synergies, blah, blah, blah. And on the other side, a simple, clear statement. We'll do this, and it will increase your revenue by 15%. Which one of those sounds like a real plan to you?
And that really gets to the heart of it, right? Language is a choice. You can use it to hide the truth, or you can use it to reveal the truth. And here's the kicker. That choice isn't just up to the speaker. It's up to us, as listeners, to demand clarity. We have to ask for the version that actually makes sense.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? Simple. Knowledge is power. Now that you know the game, you have the power to change it. You can be the one in the meeting who asks the clarifying question. You can champion plain, simple language. And you can lead by example every single day.
Because at the end of the day, clarity isn't just nice to have. It's what drives real impact. It's what gets things done. So I'll leave you with this question. The next time you're in a room filled with jargon, what are you going to ask for?